Money in the Bank has had a lot of ups and downs, especially in this past decade. And quite frankly, the matches on every single pay-per-view have warranted the potential of this becoming the fifth member of the Big Four. However, I wanted to go ahead and talk about my favorite matches from the past decade for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I am your Wrestling VTuber champion, Dojhan Vaughn, and hey, if you like the wrestling content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Keep your boy on the Twitch because we got some wrestling variety there. We will also be reacting to this year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view over there. So yeah, check the description for that. And let's get into the video. 2014, the men's Money in the Bank match, 2014, yeah, was the starting point for Seth Rollins and what would be a truly phenomenal career in the main event scene. And if I can be honest, the last great Money in the Bank run we would go on to have. However, I will go ahead later this week, sometime this week, over on the main channel and go over who I believe is the best Money in the Bank holders, from their cash-ins to their times as Mr. Money in the Bank. And Seth Rollins would rank up there on the top, not to mention having aid from the Authority at this point in time. And in general, this match is all around fun. And out of every single Money in the Bank ladder match, probably this past decade, I'd argue the most important one, considering A, the heist of the century, every single world title Seth would have, so on and so forth, and the fact that this reign would end with Seth cashing in at WrestleMania itself. But in terms of the match, isolated from everything else, still relatively enjoyable. 2015 Kevin Owens versus John Cena, and while I prefer their match at, I believe, what was it? Battleground Backlash to the pay-per-view before this, which was Kevin Owens' main roster debut, this still absolutely lived up to the match that came before it. Kevin Owens got to show out against John Cena. And on top of that, this was around the time when John Cena started to increase his moveset. Also, during the phenomenal, oddly, John Cena US Open Challenge run, this man was having nothing but banger after banger after banger, and lo and behold, this match lived up to the hype that was his championship reign. Speaking of John Cena, 2016, and one of my favorite wrestling feuds in terms of the matches we would get out of them, especially in the WWE, it is none other than AJ Styles versus John Cena. The first of what would be a row of banger matches, and quite frankly, hey, if you don't remember it, allow me to remind you, when we were beating up John Cena, 1,000,000% would recommend going back to watch this match. Same for the other two bouts at the Royal Rumble and my personal favorite, SummerSlam. But my god, this, I'd argue, might be one of AJ Styles' best matches in the WWE, definitely in this top 5, if not top 3. 2017, going back to the Money in the Bank ladder match, and while I'll be real, Baron Corbin was a questionable winner, not to mention how we would kind of just give up on him due to backstage shenanigans and whatnot, this still was an incredible, enjoyable match. We got our first tease for Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles before we got it, and they ruined it. And quite frankly, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, absolutely insane. Everybody got to show out. It was fun. It was amazing. It was enjoyable. It was chaos, and I loved it. And speaking of chaos, and the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men's side of things, 2018, which also suffers from the same thing that last year's did, with a questionable winner and a poor cash in that ended in disaster. Nevertheless, this match was still absolutely enjoyable. Braun Strowman being the unstoppable monster, and once again, Kevin Owens is absolutely insane when you put him in ladder matches. How this man's spine hasn't split in half, or his body in general, how it hasn't imploded, considering this man got yeeted by Braun Strowman off a ladder. I don't know what this man has been eating, what this man is built up, but he is truly built different. And when you isolate the cash-in and how Strowman carried that briefcase afterwards, which sadly we kind of have to do for the majority of these Money in the Bank winners, this match in and of itself was absolutely fun. 2019 AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, and I'll be real, and this is a little bit of a hot take, I kinda didn't like babyface Seth Rollins in 2019. He, for me, was cool and enjoyable. Well, cool. I was kind of already souring on Seth at this point in time before the whole Fiend situation also kind of hurt, and was more so helped by the fact that this man was kind of being weird over on Twitter. But if there's one highlight from this reign outside of him winning the title from Lesnar the first time, it was this match. These two, I'll be real, when AJ Styles debuted, him versus Seth Rollins was a dream match I had, and I am grateful we got it. These two popped off, these two showed out, these two had, in my opinion, the match of the night. And truth be told, if I could go ahead and rewatch matches over on Twitch, I would with y'all. But by the way, if people in Twitch wants to description down below. Who knows, maybe one day we will watch the match over there. But back to the video at hand, I would love if we could go ahead and revisit this feud one day. Their first of, I believe, 2 matches they've had. But how would we handle next year's Money in the Bank, considering the world got shut down? Simple. Remember why I said some of my previous Money in the Bank matches, why they were absolutely amazing? Because they were sheer chaos. Let me remind you, 2020, the men and women's Money in the Bank ladder match was absolute psychotic levels of chaos. The fact that both matches were happening at Titan Towers, both matches were happening simultaneously. The only time I believe in WWE history, maybe, we had more than one match happen at the same time, not including that one pay-per-view where we had Luke Harper, rest in peace, versus Dean Ambrose. I mean, 2 matches on camera, actively, side by side, but not to mention actively interacting with each other. Everybody was going from the bottom floor to the top. You had Rey Mysterio getting flattened by Nia Jackson. I can't quite remember the other person at the top of my head. I think that might have been Otis. A lot of very wild spots. And let's not forget, Baron Corbin attempted murder twice, throwing Rey Mysterio and poor Aleister Black off the top of the roof, seemingly to their death. Wait for both of them to pop up on the following Monday Night Raw, but it's okay, it's whatever. We'll just assume that they're just built different. Gravity means nothing. An amazing winner in the form of the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, and we'll ignore the fact that Otis won. It was funny, but simultaneously nothing really good popped out of it. Nothing really good came from it. We made the best of the situation that was at hand, and I am forever grateful for this match. Say what you will about the COVID era of WWE, and you know what? Honorable mention to Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Enjoyed that match as well. Not as much as this one, but quite frankly, while people will continuously harp on the pandemic era, which is fair, this is one of the times that they absolutely killed it, despite the world being shut down. 2021, you want to go big? Then say it. Big E getting the Money in the Bank contract after yet again a very enjoyable match. You can say what you will about his following time as Mr. Money in the Bank. This was still an absolute feel-good moment that I will cherish forever, and one that caught me a tiny bit by surprise. A very, very welcome surprise at that. An obligatory thank you, Big E. I hope wherever he is, that he's doing good and well, and that he winds up being able to recover from his neck injury, if not to return to the ring, then to simply live his life to the absolute fullest. And time for the last 2, which, spoiler alert, Uso time. 2022 Usos versus the Street Profits. And while at the time I was upset the fact that the Street Profits did not win, and truth be told, I kind of wish they would go ahead and put the Street Profits back in the tag title scene. They show the absolute best match the Street Profits had. Either this or the SummerSlam match. And probably top 5 matches the Usos had during this championship reign. But speaking about the Usos, if you thought that I was going to say anything else for 2023 but the Usos, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, I don't know where you've been other than sleeping under a rock, with that rock's name being Dwayne. the original Bloodline Civil War, and the first time Roman Reigns would be pinned in years. I believe it was, what, 3-4 years at that point in time? Back before Jimmy Uso decided for some reason to fall back in line. My favorite tag team match involving Roman Reigns, the number of near falls we had, not to mention the Samoan Spike Spear. I believe this is when, I don't know if this is when the move was debuted, or the second time you would see the Samoan Spike Spear. The double pin that failed for Roman, ultimately ending in the frog splash for the ages. 1, 2, 3. The Usos have defeated Roman Reigns, and nonetheless, Jey Uso, the man that was the first ever person in WWE to pin the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, repeating history and doing so yet again. That was some of my favorite matches from every single SummerSlam from the past decade. But hey, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Maybe you disagree with some of my takes. Let me know what matches you would have put in your top Money in the Bank bouts for this past 10 years, from 2014 all the way to 2023. Yeah, see ya.